This stainless steel grinder is completely threadless. Its unique spinning top is fully functional and fun as
I mean, this is our favorite grinder, hands down, dude. Like, we've never been addicted to a grinder like this before. And we've been addicted to a grinder before, but not like this. In this video, we're going to break down the 6 reasons why we think the Old Mate Aroma 3 grinder is the best grinder out there.
Yeah, it's 100% medical grade 304 stainless steel. There's no metal on metal contact anywhere while grinding. This thing will never need sharpening, the surface will never chip or scratch, and the bearing is a skateboard bearing. It's completely replaceable. The grinder is going to last you forever.
The connections here are magnetic, they're not threaded. So it's always fast and easy to get open, and you're never going to have that cross threading where your parts jam. That doesn't happen. And then there's no real place for it to get dirty that makes it not openable. Like, there's just no failure points. I love that. I put a lot through here and it's still trucking.
The Old Mate has the sharpest teeth out of any grinder I've ever tested. These things make quick work out of even the stickiest things. The free spinning top, easy to grind, quick to turn. Ta-da.
There you go. I find that once it spins freely like that,
The herbs.
falling all the way through. You know how you're always looking at your grinder to see if it fell through? I don't have to with this one. Look, this is easily the most enjoyable grinder to use. Look at this guy. I see grinding as a necessary evil, but not anymore. With the Aroma 3, grinding is absolutely fun.
Just love spinning them, dude.
Right? Get them all going. Boom, boom, boom. That's awesome. Dude, I literally just sit here all day long and spin the thing. Like, for me, it's a fidget spinner, bro. I just sit here and do this all through meetings. If I'm ever hanging out with you, Troy, I'm just sitting here doing this.
Yeah, I can't stop spinning the thing. Every time I look at a naked nug, I get the urge to sneak away and spin it.
Right? I like to sit here and slow it down. Tick, 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 tick. I like to do it in here with my fingernail. I mean, I'm just...
You ever take your scoop and dangle it in so it rubs the edges and goes ting, 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 ting?
Oh, but that would be fun. Dude, this thing's amazing to me. I don't understand it, but it never needs maintenance. Look how dirty this is, and it still just spins freely. It boggles me. How many pounds do you think you put through yours now?
What was that, Jerry? Sorry, I was spinning it.
How many pounds do you think you put through your thing without cleaning it?
Maybe 1.5 pounds through it. At least a pound for sure, if not 2.
That's crazy. I can tell you, I've had this thing for over a year now, and I've only scraped a little bit out of it once.
All right, Jerry, let's talk about the grind with the Old Mate.
I think the grind on this thing is great. When I talk about grind and quality, I usually talk about grind consistency and are all the bits the same size. It's very hard to do. Some grinders do it better than others, and I wouldn't rank the Old Mate in the top 5, but it's right up there and more than good enough to stop using other grinders.
It may not cut as consistently as some of the other grinders, but man, it's like 10 times more fun to use.
That's really what it comes down to, Troy, as I've got grinders that I think grind better, but I don't use them anymore.
I know we haven't introduced ourselves yet. We're not quite done. My name is Troy.
Jerry.
We review can of things.
Yeah, together we've got probably at least 1,000
grapes
and a few hundred grinders.
If you've enjoyed this review so far, give us the thumbs up, subscribe. We stream every Friday night, 6 p.m. on YouTube and Twitch.
Troy, let's go over the things we don't like. No product's perfect. What are some of the things we don't like about this one?
Yeah, there is a little bit of room for improvement. A little bit.
When I first got it, I found it was a little bit hard to open and close. But once I, without even thinking, stumbled into the technique, it was fine. The herb chamber has really strong magnets, and it's easier to like bend it off than to pull it straight up.
Yeah, once you understand the mechanism, it actually gives you the flexibility to kind of use it to your power. Lifting straight up gives you the teeth. Lifting off at an angle gives you the weed. You can even only grab the top and bottom and control which way you get it. So that's like, once you understand it, it's easy. You just have to figure it out.
True. But you're right, Troy. I hadn't thought about it. I mean, it actually works so well like that. It was designed that way. And at first, you might stumble across it, but once you get it down, you're like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, and to be fair, every single threadless grinder I've used has taken a minute to figure out. Like, once you understand it, okay. But yeah, every single threadless grinder I've handled, you have to figure it out. Just how they are.
What's your biggest complaint, though, Troy?
My biggest complaint, and doesn't really deter me from using the damn thing, is when I'm grinding and I spin it, like right when I'm grinding, you know, like you stuff a nug in there, you crank it a couple times, the nug breaks loose. I want to spin it right away. Like, I'm so tempted to spin the thing. And when I do, it flings keef everywhere. Not everywhere, but through this little gap right here. It flings a little layer of keef through the centrifugal force. I try not to grind directly over my keyboard, but then there's that little gap right there. So this grinder isn't quite perfectly airtight, especially when it's clean. Once you get it dirty, it's okay, but there's that little gap in there that technically not airtight. So if you're storing your weed in your grinder, you only got a few days before it goes bad.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to rush out and put it in another container if you want. I mean, there's plenty of times I'll grind and come back to it the next day and it's fine. So it's not like it's going to mess anything up. But if you're looking for a grinder that's going to be airtight and hold your stuff, you're going to need either something else or get a different container to put your grounds in.
Yeah, and again, that's being super nitpicky. Like, I leave herb in my grinder all the time, and I even use multiple grinders to store different herbs, like if I'm separating the two. So I leave herb in there multiple days in a row, and it's not really a problem. But if you're somewhere where you can't have your room smelling like, it might be a problem.
And I've noticed the Keith Fling thing before, but it's just a little bit. Like what I notice is when I'm on my white desk, and like you said, I'm going to town really hard on it, and I might get just a few little dusts, but for the most part, I didn't really notice it. Like, you had to point that out to me, and then I was like, oh yeah, okay, I see a little bit there. But you're absolutely right. If you just put it on and do a few grinds before you have your fun, you're not going to run into that problem at all. Troy, I honestly don't know if this grinder is ever going to need a cleaning, but I know it just keeps on spinning. Like, it doesn't ever stop. And I will sit there and do this all day long. I guarantee you, every time you're talking to me, I'm doing this off camera.
Yo, I get you, man. Like, I mess with this grinder a lot, and it makes me feel like a kid again. Like, I find myself spinning it and toying with it. It's a stress relief thing. It's a fun thing for me. It's a meditation thing for me.
Absolutely. I mean, like we said, there's other grinders that might have a slightly nicer grind, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This is literally the only grinder I want to use anymore.
It boils down to what's the best experience, and no other grinder provides the same fun experience as the Old Mate. Spin your way to happiness with code Troy and Jerry. Save $10. Old Mate designs on your Aroma 3 stainless steel ball bearing grinder. Woo!
Beautiful. And then come by the Think Tank and thank us later.